Alcohol and alcoholism for me was lonely torture. That's the best way I can describe it, because it often involves a feeling of isolation, a sense of being alone and in a very dark place, and it gets darker with time and more isolated. See, alcohol, as you know, can temporarily numb the pain, but as dependency develops, it can trap you in a vicious circle, into a cycle where you feel isolated and heavy all the time, and there seems to be no way out. It's a bit like being at the bottom of a crevice and you can't get back up again, you know. It makes you feel unwanted in a way. A lot of people would say you brought it on yourself, but it's not as easy as that, you know. But many people describe it as feeling alone and misunderstood and disconnected from society, even though they may have relatives nearby and people around them trying to help, but only you can help yourself. Because I think I slipped into this in my early 40s in a way. I was still married, but that was down the pan, as it were. A young daughter, got divorced, and then I was on my own. I retired reasonably early and I had more time to drink. And the only real friends, I suppose, I had were the people I used to drink with, some of which are no longer here. So this cycle of being isolated, you lose confidence. I lost all of my self-confidence, to be fair. I didn't really chat to many people. I've reasonably shy when I was young, but I became a bit of an extrovert over time, not just with drink, just with more confidence. I had quite a reasonable job in London. I had to be confident in what I did. And I lost all of that when this alcohol took over. And when you feel isolated, you tend to feel a bit withdrawn. So I went from this very confident figure who was in charge of people at times to being a very demure, sort of quiet, frightened type of character. I've never been frightened of anything in my life, but I became worried about what people thought about me. And I think I became paranoid. I think personally, since I've been doing this, I've learned a lot, even just since April when I posted the first video out, that the mental health side of it is massive. Obviously, the first thing you notice are the physical signs when you're not feeling well, or you get blood tests back, all this sort of thing, which aren't too good, or you admit to hospital as I was. There's lots of things happen to different people. Everyone's different. But is the mental health thing looked at by the medics? I'm not sure it is, because 2019 I was taken into hospital and told I had all sorts of problems. Obviously COVID hit and such. I was in that hospital. Around 2020 I found myself that I'm not getting any better really. It wasn't until 2021 I started to get a little bit of improvement in my health. But around 2020, mid 2020, I actually said to my daughter, you know, I'm having so much treatment in and out of hospital every 3 weeks for this drain of this fluid off and stuff. I felt quite suicidal. It might seem a bit dramatic that, but I did. I thought, you know, there's no way out. I'm not getting any better. The doctors have done what they did, or what they could, and I'm still having issues. Anyway, I got taken to hospital on one Sunday afternoon. The pain of this fluid was so much, it's so bad, I had to call 999. And I was on a trolley for 10 hours. But that wasn't anybody's fault other than the fact the hospital was so full to bursting with patients. So my daughter said, you must tell the doctors everything. I didn't want to tell her anything. The doctor eventually saw me and said, oh, sorry you've been here for 10 hours. However, let's get you a bed and this sort of thing. Checked me over a little bit, and then I said, look, I need to mention something to you. And I did, about these thoughts I'd had. And said, I've got any children? I said, yeah, I've got one daughter. I said, how do you think she would feel if something happened to you? And I said, well, she'd be devastated. got me thinking of it. And then she actually just took me by the hand and said, look, I'll get you some help. So I thought, well, at least I'll get some help here. I didn't push it. So I got to bed about, I don't know, midnight, 1 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the morning, this different doctor came in and said, oh, I've heard you're not too well. You've had these thoughts, you see. Now, I said, I'm going to get some help. She did exactly the same, took me by the hand, and, you know, because these doctors know what they're doing. Made me feel a little bit better. Eventually I perked up a bit, and the thoughts left me. They were reasonably brief. I did Google how to commit suicide at one point. But obviously just came up with Samaritan's numbers and all that sort of. I mean, I used to be a sensible guy, you know. What was I doing? I was losing my mind with alcohol. Anyway, so I've got 2 doctors in the same hospital, big emergency hospital in the northeast, and nothing ever came of this mental health thing. Nobody ever followed it up. Nobody mentioned it again. Unfortunately, I came out of it because a few months after that, I started to get well again. It was the start of my recovery, really. By 2021, after my father died, I really pushed myself. And I saw a way out, the light at the end of the tunnel. But sometimes I look back and I think, you know, it was really, really, really at the bottom, physically and mentally. And I don't think, for whatever reasons, maybe it's just cost or too many patients, the mental health thing is addressed enough. And that's what I mean about lonely torture. Because when you get into this cycle, there's only you in the room you're sitting in. And no matter what you've had in the past, whether you've been married, you've had a lot of relationships, family, good job, lots of friends, it all disappears. Because the alcohol controls you, takes over your life, and it will ultimately kill you. If you've got any of these thoughts, or you're looking at the mental health side of things, I'm going to do some more videos on this. I think it's very important. Because I've done a bit of a study on how many suicides there are. And a lot of them are linked to alcohol use and feelings of isolation. All you've got to do is go into any pub, anywhere in the UK, about 11:30 in the morning. And I guarantee most of the customers in there are male, between the ages of 50 and 80. All of them alone, or maybe chatting to each other in little groups. No women about. Because the women got rid of them. Sick of the drinking, sick of the way they behaved. And they're the ones who are totally isolated. Fortunately, I'm back in the game. I've been very lucky. It was a hard fight. I've looked after myself. I continue to look after myself. And that's why I'm here, to try and help others who are struggling. But it's got to be looked at, the mental health thing. And if you're watching this and you think, oh, I want to give up, this, that and the other, I don't really fancy giving up because I'm going to be bored. Believe you me, there's a lot worse things to do than get sober, because life is 1,000 times better when you cut the drink out. If you would benefit from the channel, please subscribe and share them to anybody else who might struggle. And also drop me a line. I'll speak to you soon.